Alrighty, this is part 2 of the Greyscale coloring in A Little Grimm World Christmas by Karlon Douglas. Welcome everyone! I will put the link to part 1 in the description below if you are just now finding this video. Okay, so let's move along. I will be doing some pencil work on top of the sled using 925 and 937 as my darkest shade. Okay, so taking this darkest shade, I'm going to go right into the very dark part of the shadow on the sled and just filling that in just to emphasize that color. And just lighten the pressure as I move out. Okay, and then right underneath the bag. So when I'm working in the sled, I'm just going to find those darkest areas and then lighten the pressure as I move away from that shadow. All right, and then this is let's see, 925, and this one I'm going over the darkest part and bringing the color into the center more, but leaving the very center part of the shape highlighted. All right, now I'm taking a blender pencil. This is the Caran d'Ache Luminance blender pencil, but I'm not liking the way that looks, so I might have to think of something different to do later on. Okay, on to the reindeer. I'll be using 4 pencils, 946, 941, and this one is 1080 and 1082. So I'm going to start with my darkest shade, 946, and again I'm just going to kind of trace around these darkest shadow areas because I don't want to lose that line. Oh, and I forgot. I'm grabbing a white and I'm just going to hit around the ankles or right above the hooves here because I want that to be white. All right, so I'm going to take my lightest color for the reindeer. This is 1080, and I'm just gonna go around that dark line that I put down first and just kind of blend it in and then work this color more towards the center. So starting at the edge and then working into the center. Trying to take the harshness of that dark line that I put in, but still filling in some shadow areas. All right, this one is 941, and this has a little bit more kind of red in the brown, so it brings out a nice kind of deeper tone into the fur. And then 1082, again, a deeper reddish brown tint. So just bringing out that deepest shadow a little bit more. All right, and then back again with the lightest shade, just to kind of burnish those colors together and finish the blend. All right, I'm taking a Prisma Color blender now, and I'm trying that instead of the Karlon one, and it seems to be blending it out pretty good. I'm also going to try an Ohuhu Colorless blender. This is in the marker bag, so that seems to work too. I'm curious to see what it looks like when it dries, but when it's wet, it makes it look like it's blended and it kind of smooth, and you can't see those little pencil marks. So surprisingly, and so far, it seems to be doing pretty good. Okay, so this is a good visual comparison to the reindeer to the left. You don't have to use color pencil on top of the marker because you can still see the shadows within the grayscale, but using the color pencil just enhances everything and brings it to the next level. All the reindeer are complete, and keep in mind that the ones going off the page will have less detail. Okay, next I will work on the gloves, the hooves, and the antlers. All right, I'll be using 1067 and 1063 for the grays in the gloves. Darkest one first again. And then using the light to blend it up, keeping the highlight. And I'm going to use that colorless alcohol blender marker again to blend that out. Okay, for the hooves and antlers, I'm going to be using this 996, which is actually a really deep purple. It might be hard to see on screen, but it's a really deep purple. And then I'll be using the lightest shade of gray, which is the 1063 for highlights. Okay, so same thing here with the antlers. And for highlights on the antlers, I'm going to use 914, which is a really pale yellow. All right, I'm gonna work on the toys off camera and I'll come back. All right, so here are what the toys and the bag look like, all shaded. Okay, time for the background, what we've all been waiting for. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous and I'm feeling the pressure because I want this to turn out good for you guys. All right, I think I held up the wrong color palette when I was showing this in the first video. So this is a different color palette, but it's the same, still same, the decorating chalks, soft chalks. And I'm gonna be using the light peach color. And then I found these by Q-tip. They're kind of a pointed cotton swab, which I think will be good for applying the color. And you might be looking at the houses and stuff and thinking, wow, that might be really hard to distinguish what is a house and what is what. Well, it's really the same live, you know, not on screen too. It's kind of difficult to make things out. So I picked the pastels in a light shade because I really don't want anything too defined for that reason, because it is hard to make things out. Some things are easier than others, like these little shapes right here. I can tell that that is the side of the house with some windows. So I'm just applying this color really lightly and not exact either. I don't mind that it's kind of blurring outside of the lines. I'm being kind of messy with it, which is fine because, like, you know, this whole little area is supposed to look a little blurry. And there are definitely areas where I probably put this color where I wasn't supposed to or where I needed to. I don't know. Like I said, I was kind of guessing in a lot of areas. All right, I'm getting just a little bit of this darker peach shade, and I'm going to add that onto some of the shadow areas. It was a little too bright, so I'm just taking that brushing off a little bit more. This area is already dark, so that's fine. But again, I'm trying to keep it really soft and light. So before I start on the next color, hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better. Again, not too strong, just really light and kind of blurry looking. All right, I'm going to be using this lavender shade for the rooftops. If you remember back in the reference pictures, a lot of the rooftops, or all of the town rooftops, had snow on them. So I'm going to pretend that all of these rooftops are snow covered, and so I'm just going to use this lavender for that snow shade. I like using lavender or light purple shades for white shadows. All right, definitely guessing of where the rooftops are over here in this area. There's some over there, not sure if it's exactly where I'm putting it. And if you can't find these type of chalks, I know there's a brand called Pebbles. You can find those on Amazon, and they work the same way. They have a different tool that has these little cotton balls in them. I've never had them. They look really cool. They're on like my wish list, but I think they're considered more of a soft chalk too. All right, bringing you in a little closer so you hopefully can make out some of those little houses there. All right, next I'm going to spray this little section that I just did with Workable Fixative. So the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want those colors to bleed into the other colors that I'll be working with. So I'm going to be using pan pastels, and I have this blue shade. Let me bring it up here. All right, this is ultramarine blue shade, and then I'll be using turquoise tint too. Okay, so the blue is going to go up at the top, and then it's going to blend into the lighter blue. But again, I wanted to spray that Workable Fixative, that way none of the other pastels will come up into the blues. So that is what my theory is. Okay, so now I'm just taking these little soft tool sponge applicators and rubbing it all over. I'm not being careful about, you know, trying to go around the snowflakes. I'm going right over them. What's nice about pan pastels is you can use a variety of tools to erase some of this stuff, but I'm just wanting a nice layer. And you'll see me here in a minute probably go over some other areas that I shouldn't. But yeah, so I'm just going to keep applying this. nice and dark up here where it's the darkest. I mean, I'm trying to be a little careful about going around some of these main objects, but again, I'll show you what we can do to erase anything that we don't want. Right, and you just keep rubbing it around, moving it around. It covers a pretty good area, except this area where it's just really dark, I feel like it needs a lot more. And then as I'm going into these lighter areas, I'm not reapplying that darker blue as often. So I'm just kind of waiting for it to come off of my sponge. Okay, so I reapplied here and then working that up and just a little bit down into these smaller areas. Okay, so this is where I didn't want this blue shade or any of the purple and peach to come up. So hopefully that I first chalk the purple and peaches are stuck on there with that fixative. Okay, so now I'm taking my lighter blue and I'm going to work up here at the darker area first, kind of blend those together. And that's way too light right there, so I'll blend that out. There we go. All right, so get some of that darker blue off, and now I'm just going to concentrate on doing the lighter blue shade around. And of course, I don't have it in view. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Okay, I'm just barely hitting this area here and over the houses. So I don't want to change any of the color really, but I'm just adding just a slight hint of this blue on top of the houses. All right, now I'm just fiddling around, so adding some darker color where it might need it. And trying to blend it in better where it needs to be blended. Okay, let me give you a better looky here. So there's the pastels. So for erasing, you can use an electric eraser. Although I don't want to use it there because I do have color pencil there and I don't want it to take off the color pencil. So I'm going to use this. This is a kneadable eraser, and you kind of just squish it to the shape that you want and dab off the chalk pastel. So it works really good because you can kind of, it's like clay, you can whittle it down to just a little point if you need to, and then just press it on there and lift it up. Okay, now for the electric eraser, you can use that. I'm going to take off some of the chalk here on some of the snow. Not all of them, because I like some of them to be blue, and then I'm going to go over some of them with some white acrylic paint too. So just hitting a few little areas here and there. Oh, and I almost forgot about the windows. So remember, I wanted that warm kind of yellow glow coming from the windows. The windows are pretty dark right now, but that's okay. We can go over it with a yellow. I just want a hint of some yellow coming through. All right, time for some little finishing details. I'm going to use a gold gel pen for those little swirly bits, and then I'm going to use a gold acrylic paint to add some bells to the harness. All right, I'm also going to use this brown acrylic paint pen for the reins. Okay, and then also I have a silver for some of these little ornaments on the tree. Okay, let's do the reins first. So I'm going to take this Ohuhu paint marker, and I'm just going to follow along these white lines and thickening them up just a little bit so we don't see any of the white lines. I might have to do a couple of coats, so I'm just gonna kind of locate it first, and then I'll go back over it just a little bit heavier. All right, did some silver for the little ornaments, and now I'm going to take the gold, and this is a much brighter gold than the gold gel pen, so I'm wanting to make little gold bells along the harness here. So just 3 little circles. All right, so this is called Wink of Stella. It's just a gold like water brush pen. So I'm just gonna hit around the bell, just give it a little extra shine. And maybe here in some of these toys. And not too much along here, but just a little extra sparkle. All right, so this is a white acrylic paint pen. And so my thought process on the snow is that I want some to be really bright and some to be really faint. Okay, so we have a mix of ones that are bright, some that are closest to us, and then some that are far away. So I was kind of experimenting, putting a little spots here and there, and then trying to take some off with a Q-tip, but that wasn't working too well. So I'll just leave some faint and then make some bright. Okay, and then I'm also adding just a little extra white highlight on Santa's mustache, his beard, and in some of these white fluffy areas around his hat and trim on his jacket. All right, so me dabbing off some of the paint wasn't working, so I'm going to try a Prisma Color white pencil. So this gives it kind of more of a dull look to it. It's not as bright as the acrylic paint pen. So I'll do a mix of the acrylic paint pen and of the white pencil. Okay, finished with the snow for now. I may go back and add more later as I keep looking at it. I also added some dark gray in the reins for shading of the reins too. Okay, after filming, I will spray again with the Workable fixative. This is the only fixative I have, and it seems to work okay for now. So final thoughts. I hope I did this page justice for you all. I'm really happy with it. I just love the way Santa and the reindeer came out. It's bold, and the colors are so pretty. The chalks did what they needed to. They added that soft layer of color, but didn't define anything too much. And yeah, it made that kind of blurry effect down there at the bottom. And I have a good snow flurry going on. So hopefully this will inspire you to try something new, and please let me know what you think down in the comment section. All right, everyone, bye for now. Thank you.